welcome to Studio AMB. I'm Tira and I'm sitting here with In Flames. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Joe and I play the drums with In Flames. Stoked to be here.
So I was wondering, how did the band start from the beginning? Or how did you get into the band?
Well, the band started a very long time ago. I don't even think any of you were born. But it's like early 90s. They formed in Gothenburg. And they're one of the original melodic death metal bands.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to be a part of that. So for me, I live in Los Angeles, California. I've toured for a long time. I got my first record deal when I was 17. And I left school and started touring. And I'm 30 now, so 13 years ago, started touring full time. And I've basically done that since. I also, a while ago, I got really into doing a lot of studio work. And so when I'm not touring, I do a lot of work in Los Angeles for various producers, either studio drumming, or I'm also heavily into Pro Tools. So I do a lot of programming, editing, songwriting. I write a lot with other artists and things like that. So that's kind of the stuff that I do. And because of that, I became really good friends with this guy, Howard Benson. And Howard Benson is a very famous producer from LA. And he produced the new In Flames album. So when they were coming to LA to record, he gave me a call and said, hey, In Flames is coming out and they happen to not have a drummer. Would you want to come work on the album? And I was like, sounds fun, let's do it. So I went in the studio and met the guys and we hit it off. And we started hanging out a lot and I ended up tracking drums on the album. And then I didn't even think I would be in the band. I didn't think it was a possibility, and I didn't know they would be interested.
No.
So when the album was all done, they actually took me out to dinner, and then they asked if I would want to become their drummer. And of course you say yes when it's something like that. And so here I am.
So now you're playing at Sweden Rock, for example, and this is not your first festival with In Flames.
No, we've done many, yeah.
Yeah. So how does a normal festival day look like for you from the beginning to the end?
Usually you stay up pretty late. So
Yeah,
we go to bed most nights pretty late, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. So we usually sleep in till noon or so, get a lot of sleep. And then we were just in the States. We did 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I flew straight over here from there. And so I just haven't really had a break. So trying to catch up on some sleep when I can. But sleep in, get up, go check out the dressing room, and usually go find food and things like that. And the days are pretty relaxed. Sometimes we have a lot of interviews or signings.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's different things. We always go over the set list for the night. Like earlier, I practiced a little bit with our bass player, running some stuff that we're playing tonight that we haven't been playing, just kind of refreshing ourselves on the songs and things like that. And it's just a lot of hanging out, though, for the most part. Pretty relaxed. Every day is different. It's not a super big schedule because we don't really sound check very often.
No, you don't. Why
especially
not?
like on days like this, we can't. We would have to.
Yeah.
We'd have to be up at 8 in the morning to be able to try to sound check or something. So we don't do that. And I usually go up and check my drums out with my drum tech, and he's got them all set and just make sure everything feels good and things like that. But for the most part, we're just kind of hang around, just try to get psyched for the show.
So if it was possible to do this all over again, is it something that you would want to change or do something better or improve?
No, You just mean my career in general? Do it over again?
Yeah, your career and with In Flames, everything.
No, I mean, I think that I've been very fortunate and very lucky to end up playing with a band like this. You never really see the downside of trying to live a life like this, but it's very up and down. I've had many, many ups and downs, and I had a band of my own, and we did very well, and it was great, but there's also been a lot of down parts with that, and it's I don't know, I wouldn't change it though, because I don't think I would be sitting here right now if I would have done something different, Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, what would your advice be for young musicians who are trying to get in the music career right now?
I mean, a lot of things. I think that what separates the guys that end up. I was actually talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. He teaches music a lot, and he can always tell the kids that have a chance of going somewhere and the kids that don't. And it's not always about who has the most talent. It's about who wants it the most. And I know plenty of guys that it took them a long time to be able to play their instruments or sing or whatever it is, but they just worked really hard. And then I know a lot of guys that I grew up with, that I used to play music with when I was a kid, that are incredible, and they're still back home, never done anything, because it's almost like they either didn't want to work for it or don't have that kind of work ethic, or they think that they're so good that they don't need to do anything. And that's not the attitude to have. I mean, I still always practice all the time. I'll go back to Gothenburg on Monday, and I have a kit set up there, and I'd practice every day in between all the shows, come back out, play, and just always trying to get better and do everything that I can, because I don't know, I think the real musicians that I know, they just want to, it's like, it's never ending. You can always get better. And so, but you want to like hit this peak in life where you're just like the best you've ever been, I guess. It's like, I don't know, it's addictive. But that's what I would tell, that's probably the best advice, is just to be willing to work as hard as possible and be willing to sacrifice a lot, because you sacrifice a lot to do this, you know, and be gone, especially when, for me, playing in a band from Europe, it's hard because I'm gone a lot, and I have, you know, family and people back where I live that I don't get to see very often, and it's definitely hard. It's really hard. But yeah, that's what I would say is that's the most important thing. It's really wanting it and really working hard, and if you're not very good right now, you can be great if you just try. And if you are really good right now, then don't think that you're that good. You know, I always tell people to practice like you're the worst in the world, and then when you play a show, you play like you're the best. You know, like you want to have the most confidence on stage. But when you're at home, you want to be like, man, I suck. I need to practice. Like you want to do that. You want to get better and better. So, yeah.
As you know, the music industry has changed a lot. Is there something that you think has gotten worse or better?
The music industry is crazy. It's so different than when I first got in it. Nobody sells records anymore, so that makes it super difficult to survive. It's really just financially, the music industry, especially the rock industry, is really what's gotten hurt the most. It's not there, so it's harder for people to put on the same kind of shows. It's really just hard for new bands to come up. Like, you rarely have a band that comes out now that actually has some real success. There's only a few. Like, it wasn't like that in the 90s or in the 80s or in the 70s. Like, you could be a new band and you have a good shot, but it's just so hard to grow something, especially in the rock music industry nowadays. It's very, very different. It sucks. I'm hoping that rock will kind of come back around and have a revival, I guess, and be more popular than it used to be. But I feel like so many kids growing up nowadays don't know anything about rock music. All they know is, like, you know, Katy Perry and Nick Jonas and whatever, and it's nothing against them. Like, they're amazing artists, but they don't have the exposure to what I had when I was a kid, or you know, any most people here at this festival. So.
But if you look more at the stage, for example, have the metal stage changed? When you look at when you compare to the other years, if the metal stage has changed?
Has the metal stage changed? I mean, I don't know. What do you mean by changed? Like,
I don't know if you're getting treated in different ways, or
like In Flames has been treated different ways. Yeah, I mean, I know in the metal community things are different because In Flames, their sound has changed so much, which I haven't been a part of, obviously, but for them, yeah, I mean, there's been some people that aren't so happy, and people have opinions on the internet about what the sound and the way that In Flames has evolved. But what they don't realize is you can't do the same album for the rest of your life because you
No.
also don't evolve. And that's what people don't get. Because if they did that, everybody would be so tired of it. It'd be like, oh, it's just another same album. Like, just, another Clayman or whatever. Like, it's just another album. And you need to just do that. And those albums, those old albums are there, and people can listen to them all they want. And we still play songs from them, and it's fine. But the band has to change, and as you get older, I mean, these guys are 20 years older than they were, so they have kids, and music changes, so you evolve as a band. It happens to everybody. But
So now at last, do you have any inspiring words for young musicians to succeed in the music industry, more than you already said?
yeah, I never in a million years thought I would have a record deal or tour when I was a kid. Like, never thought it would happen. I'm just a kid that used to play drums in my mom's garage, and I begged her for a drum kit one year for Christmas, and she got me one. And I think it's crazy that I'm here, to be honest. It's the weirdest thing. I still think about it all the time. It's so weird to be playing with these guys and doing this. But I think if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And it's so true. Like, anybody can do it if they really want to do it. But I wanted it so bad that I gave up everything. Like, I just took off and I worked as hard as I could and learned as much as I could. And it's also, I learned from people, like, I listened to them. I never thought I was better than anybody or I deserved to be there. I was always soaking it in from other drummers or other musicians, and it's definitely taken me a long way. It's really cool. And I would say, yeah, anybody can do it. So
Thank you so much
Of course.
for coming here and for the interview.
this was great. You guys are awesome. Thank you.